On the 7th of September, 2015, the ground beneath our understanding of prehistoric Britain shifted. Researchers announced a discovery that would rewrite history. Evidence of a vast, hidden monument lying in silent slumber less than 2 miles from the iconic stones of Stonehenge. This colossal structure, concealed for millennia, was estimated to be 15 times the size of its world-famous neighbor. The revelation erupted from the Stonehenge Hidden Landscapes Project, a band of intrepid British archaeologists armed not with shovels, but with advanced multi-sensor technologies. Peering through layers of soil and time, they uncovered the ghost of a monument, the buried remains of as many as 90 massive standing stones, entombed beneath the earth banks of Dyington Walls, one of Britain's most significant prehistoric sites. Dyington Walls has long been known as a giant among henguests, a colossal circular earthwork measuring 500 meters in diameter. It was constructed some 4,500 years ago. Like its kin, it consists of a central arena encircled by a ditch and bank. Archaeologists believe these henguests were sacred ceremonial spaces, often housing timber or stone circles for rituals, gatherings, and tracking the heavens. Dyington itself was associated with an ancient village, a snapshot of Neolithic life. But the discovery of the buried stones transformed this snapshot into an epic. The surveys painted a stunning picture. Up to 90 stones, some of which may have originally towered 4.5 meters or nearly 15 feet high. The researchers concluded that these monoliths survived the ages because they were deliberately toppled and then sealed beneath the henge's enormous earth bank. Their preservation was nothing short of miraculous, a time capsule offering a pristine window into a prehistoric world. What made this discovery truly breathtaking was the monument's design. The stones formed a vast C-shaped arena, its curve following a natural depression leading toward the river Avon. This topography, accentuated by a chalk-cut scarp, appeared to be the focal point, perhaps marking sacred springs or a processional route to the water. This was not a random arrangement. It was a deliberate alignment with the land, a sacred space intricately tied to water, fertility, and the rhythms of the earth. A crucial clue lay nearby, the Cuckoo Stone, a large Sarsen sandstone boulder. Researchers theorized it pointed to the local origin of the buried stones, suggesting the builders of Dyington Walls used resources from their immediate environment, unlike the long-distance transport that defined Stonehenge. This emphasized the unique character of each henge, each with its own distinct cultural practices and meanings. Prior to this, archaeologists believed significant stone structures were unique to Stonehenge and its immediate avenue. Dyington Walls were considered an earthen and timber monument. This new evidence shattered that assumption, revealing an earlier, grander phase dominated by a monumental row of massive stones, instantly elevating it to one of the most extraordinary prehistoric sites in all of Britain. The implications were profound. The sheer scale of the buried monument, its intimate alignment with the Avon, and its unique configuration suggested it was not merely a neighbor to Stonehenge, but a central player in the ceremonial landscape of Neolithic Britain, a monument of equal, if not greater, importance. The survival of these stones provides an unparalleled opportunity to decode the practices, beliefs, and engineering prowess of the people who built them. The preservation is exceptional, the configuration unique. The Stonehenge Hidden Landscapes Project proved that even the most studied earth can hold profound secrets. This super Stonehenge beneath Dyington Walls demonstrates the staggering ambition of Neolithic societies and ensures the mysteries of this ancient landscape will captivate us for generations to come. The story, however, grows even richer. The landscape surrounding Stonehenge has long been a place of deep mystery. For centuries, scholars and the public alike have marveled at the iconic circle, questioning its purpose and the people who built it. Now, the same project has revealed that this area holds secrets beyond imagination. Using cutting-edge digital mapping techniques like ground-penetrating radar and high-resolution magnetometers, the team, led by the University of Birmingham, created the most detailed subterranean map of the Stonehenge landscape ever produced. The results were staggering. The familiar fields were, in fact, a teeming metropolis of hidden history. The survey uncovered 17 previously unknown ritual monuments dating to the period when Stonehenge achieved its iconic shape. This revealed Stonehenge was not an isolated masterpiece, but the heart of a vast, interconnected ceremonial complex. Dozens of burial mounds were mapped in incredible detail, along with a long barrow containing evidence of a massive timber building, a structure believed to have been used for complex funerary rituals, perhaps for the defleshing of the dead, before being sealed beneath an earthen mound for millennia. The project also brought to light novel types of monuments, including massive pits arranged in celestial alignments, suggesting the builders were sophisticated astronomers, marking solstices and equinoxes with earthly precision. The map now detailed a timeline of human occupation stretching back 11,000 years, from Bronze and Iron Age settlements to Roman structures. This reshapes our entire understanding of Stonehenge. It was not a solitary temple, but a dynamic hub of social and spiritual life, a landscape that evolved over millennia. The project even uncovered more recent history: World War I practice trenches and the remains of RAF Stonehenge, an early military air base. British project leader Professor Vincent Gaffney described the project as revolutionary, demonstrating how technology can transform our view of the past. This vast digital map is now a vital resource, a guide for future discovery. It is a humbling reminder that the story of Stonehenge is far from complete. The stones are merely the prologue to a far greater narrative still being unearthed. In a strange, parallel narrative of discovery, the year 2013 saw a different kind of mystery surface on a social networking platform. An individual known only as Tramp Stop Dan shared an intriguing tale. A friend had stumbled upon an unassuming box amidst discarded items on a street in Asheville, North Carolina. To their surprise, it was filled with peculiar illustrations centered on an event dubbed the Tampa Bay Obscuration. Dan shared these illustrations online, where they quickly garnered a cult following, the collection earning the colloquial name, The Box of Crazy. Its contents were a perplexing amalgamation of visionary art, religious fervor, and mad science. While some materials dated the 1930s, the core revolved around quasi-religious revelations rooted in the Tampa Bay area, with prominent illustrations reimagining the biblical narrative of Ezekiel. Investigating the box's origin led to the signature, Daniel Christianen, with some work signed by the mysterious Nesna Sai, a clever reversal of Christianen. Through meticulous sleuthing, the owner was identified as Daniel Samuel Christianen of St. Petersburg, Florida, born in 1904 and deceased in 1994. The mystery of how his life's work ended on a roadside in Asheville over a decade after his death remains unsolved. The contents were extraordinary. Christianen documented what he called the Tampa Bay Obscuration, an event he experienced on the mystically resonant date of July 7, 1977. He interpreted it as a fusion of a UFO encounter and a religious epiphany, directly linking it to the visions of Ezekiel. His detailed, technically proficient drawings depicted the prophets, living creatures, not as angels, but as advanced extraterrestrial technology. Research revealed a laser light show had occurred in Tampa Bay on that date. While some dismissed Christianen's experience as a simple misinterpretation, the contents of the box suggest something deeper. The laser show may have been a trigger, but the work reveals a lifelong, singular obsession with correlating Ezekiel's visions with modern anomalies. Christianen was developing his UFO Ezekiel theory even before World War II, predating the famous ancient astronaut theories by decades. He was a trailblazer, a visionary operating in complete isolation, his bizarre and brilliant obsession shared only with his wife until a passerby, a friend of Tramp Stop Dan, stumbled upon the abandoned box of crazy. Daniel Samuel Christianen emerges as a unique figure in American folk art, a man who spent a lifetime mapping the intersections of scripture, science, and the supernatural, his legacy preserved by sheer chance. This convergence of ancient mystery and modern esoterica finds a surprising echo in one of the world's oldest institutions. The Vatican, the epicenter of the Roman Catholic Church, has demonstrated an intriguing openness toward the existence of extraterrestrial life. This stance, a significant shift from centuries of doctrine, has fueled speculation about what the Church might know. Beyond the grandeur of St. Peter's Square and the Renaissance art lies a realm of profound secrecy. The Vatican's power derives from two sources: immense wealth, estimated at $10 to $15 billion in assets, and a global network of over 1 billion devoted followers. This combination has allowed it to accumulate and guard knowledge for centuries. At the heart of this is the Vatican's secret archives, a treasure trove of historical relics and confidential materials spanning millennia. While access has increased since the 19th century, a vast portion remains inaccessible, shrouded in secrecy. Whispers persist that if one could explore its deepest vaults, astonishing enigmas would be uncovered. The existence of extraterrestrial life is not a topic one associates with the Vatican, yet its scientists have gazed skyward for centuries from a Vatican observatory. Recent statements from officials like Dr. Jose Funes, the former director, have been strikingly open. He has stated that given the universe's vastness, the evolution of life, even intelligent life, is a possibility. This is a monumental reversal for an institution with a 2,000-year-old doctrine. This paradigm shift has led to intense speculation. Are Vatican officials speaking theoretically, or has concrete evidence prompted this change? The Church's investment in the well-funded Pontifical Academy of Sciences adds weight to the question. Persistent, though unverified, rumors have circulated since 1998 of elongated, non-human skulls being unearthed beneath the Vatican Library. Claims consistently repudiated yet never fully dispelled. The intriguing conclusion is that these disparate threads, the monumental discovery at Dyington Walls, the lonely visions of Daniel Christianen, and the guarded openness of the Vatican, all speak to the same human yearning. They remind us that our world, from the soil beneath our feet to the heavens above, is filled with layers of mystery, and that the quest to understand our place in the cosmos is the most enduring story of all. For generations, Mars has captivated the human spirit, a rust-colored beacon in our night sky, and the most Earth-like world in our celestial neighborhood. Yet, in recent years, as mechanical emissaries like Curiosity and Perseverance have trekked across its barren deserts and scaled its ancient cliffs, a far more tantalizing narrative has begun to emerge. Beyond the expected geology and global dust storms, a cascade of strange anomalies has been captured in photographic data, fueling a compelling belief that we are not merely observing a dead world, but one that may hold profound, active secrets. These images, drawn from a mosaic of rover missions and orbiting satellites, reveal objects and formations that defy simple explanation by natural processes alone. One of the most haunting mysteries involves what can only be described as skeletal remains. Beamed back across the vast gulf of space, several photographs display formations in the dust and rock that bear an uncanny, almost chilling resemblance to bones. Some of these shapes are so distinctly organic in appearance that speculation has run rampant. Could these be the mineralized remnants of a biosphere long since extinguished? The possibility that Mars once supported living creatures has always been a foundational scientific question. But to see what appears to be skeletal forms scattered carelessly across its deserts lends an eerie, tangible reality to that possibility. In one widely disseminated image, the distinct shape of a humanoid skull lies partially buried, its sockets and structure too detailed and coherent to be easily dismissed as the whims of random erosion. Other frames reveal full assemblies eerily reminiscent of rib cages or elongated femurs, forcing upon us a pressing question. Did Mars once host complex, multicellular organisms? Beyond these phantom fossils, other anomalies scream of artificiality. The Martian landscape is punctuated by formations possessing sharp, geometric edges, symmetrical carvings, and repetitive patterns entirely inconsistent with the chaotic artistry of random geology. One compelling example depicts what looks unmistakably like the sleek outline of craft half submerged in the Martian sands. Its smooth, curved form a stark, manufactured contrast to the jagged natural terrain. Another reveals linear patterns and what appears to be a staircase meticulously cut into a rock face, standing as a silent, enigmatic monument, as if it were a remnant of forgotten civilization. These artificial-looking structures fuel a powerful line of speculation that Mars was once home to an intelligent species capable of shaping its environment, only to have its entire legacy scoured from the surface by the relentless hand of deep time. The mystery deepens further with anomalies that defy all expectation. A handful of images have been interpreted to suggest the presence of small, living creatures. While the surface of Mars is considered profoundly inhospitable today, rovers have nonetheless captured curious, defined shapes moving along distant ridges. One famous, hotly debated image even appears to show a rodent-like animal, crouched and alert among the rocks. Others highlight strange objects that cast long, telling shadows, implying something more dynamic and solid than static geology is being observed. This potent combination of skeletal shapes, artificial structures, and supposed living forms paint a picture of a Martian surface that is far from a static, dead museum. It is a world that seems to whisper of ongoing activity. Adding a technological dimension to the enigma, some anomalies resemble the scattered remnants of machinery. Circular discs of perfect symmetry, fragments that evoke intricate machinery, and shapes distinctly evocative of pipes or manufactured panels have been identified with startling clarity in rover imagery. In one particularly striking case, a photograph revealed what appeared to be the broken husk of a spacecraft lodged in the dust. Its proportions, structural ridges, and metallic-like reflection have led many analysts to suggest it was once airborne before meeting its end on the ruddy surface. The appearance of these forms, so alien to the natural stone around them, has kept researchers and enthusiasts locked in fervent debate for years. The official scientific stance often attributes these phenomena to pareidolia, the human brain's innate tendency to find familiar shapes in random patterns. Yet, the sheer volume and bewildering variety of these anomalies raise deeper, more persistent questions. Why are so many objects captured with such clearly defined features that mirror the life and technology of Earth? Why do these skeletal apparitions appear in multiple, disparate regions? And why do these artificial-looking structures consistently emerge near significant geological features like cliffs and crater rims? Each new photograph adds another piece of the puzzle, leaving us to wonder if we are witnessing incredible coincidences of geology or the first, fragmented clues to a forgotten Martian story. What makes these anomalies profoundly compelling is their strategic location. Many have been spotted near the ghosts of ancient rivers, the basins of dried lakes, and along crater rims, the very places where planetary scientists suspect Mars once possessed stable, potentially habitable environments. If water truly flowed across Mars for millions of years, it is not just plausible, but probable that life, perhaps even intelligent life, flourished there before the planet succumbed to atmospheric loss. The anomalies we capture today could therefore be the scattered ruins of that lost age, preserved under a blanket of dust for eons, only now being uncovered by the wind or the slow, rolling wheels of our rovers. In 2014, a discovery of monumental proportions was made by eagle-eyed researchers sifting through the photographic stream from NASA's Curiosity rover. There, hovering above the desolate Martian landscape, was a stark, cigar-shaped object, an anomaly that has ignited widespread speculation and intrigue. The images, captured by Curiosity's navigation camera on May 4th, show what appears to be a long, cylindrical white object suspended motionlessly in the thin Martian sky for an astonishing duration of approximately 16 minutes. This unprecedented sighting has led many to question if we are observing direct evidence of extraterrestrial activity in the vicinity of Mars, and whether space agencies are withholding crucial information about the presence of unknown objects in Martian orbit. Curiosity has been its relentless exploration of the Gale crater since 2012, beaming back thousands of raw, unprocessed images as part of its mission to decipher the planet's surface, atmosphere, and geological history. It was during routine examination of this vast visual archive that UFO enthusiasts pinpointed the aberration, a sleek, elongated object hanging in the sky, unlike any known natural feature or artifact previously documented on Mars. The shape and defined appearance of the object immediately signaled it was something significant. This was no stray dust particle or camera artifact. It exhibited characteristics that suggested a structured, solid, and deliberately positioned craft. The cylindrical form is a recurring motif in global UFO reports, particularly the so-called cigar-shaped UFOs documented on Earth for decades. To find an object with nearly identical features hovering over Mars raises profound questions about a potential and persistent extraterrestrial presence. Perhaps the most compelling aspect of the sighting is the object's remarkable endurance. For 16 minutes, it remained steadfast in the frame. If this were a simple artifact of the camera, a trick of light, or a transient optical illusion, it would not have persisted for such a significant and measurable length of time. Furthermore, given Mars' exceptionally thin atmosphere and the absence of strong, sustained winds capable of suspending debris in midair, the possibility that this was some form of natural, floating material seems highly improbable. Researchers argue that the object's presence, stable position, and extended duration all point toward deliberate movement or controlled station keeping, rather than an uncontrolled environmental fluke. This sighting is not an isolated incident in the annals of space exploration. If the object is indeed an advanced craft, it forces upon us several critical questions. Why was it hovering over the specific region of Mars? Was it observing the rover itself, a lone mechanical intruder on its landscape? Or did it have a separate, inscrutable mission of its own on the planet? Some researchers speculate that Mars, as our solar system's most Earth-like planet, would be a prime candidate for observation by any external intelligence. It would be a logical focal point for any civilization monitoring the development of life or the expansion of a technological species. In this corner of the galaxy, NASA has maintained its characteristic silence on the issue, offering no clear or satisfactory explanation for the anomaly. The space agency has a long-established precedent of dismissing UFO-related findings, typically attributing them to camera glitches, internal reflections, or pareidolia. However, given the object-defined shape, prolonged presence, and structured appearance, these conventional explanations feel increasingly inadequate. The official silence has only poured fuel on the speculative fire, leading many to conclude that NASA is actively withholding evidence of extraterrestrial encounters. While some detractors argue the object could be space debris or a speck on the camera lens, these theories fail to account for the object's sustained appearance across multiple frames. If it were dust or an artifact, it would likely appear in only one frame or shift position erratically. Instead, the cigar-shaped UFO remained a consistent feature, behaving as a physical object occupying a fixed point in Martian airspace. This sighting also opens a door to a more disquieting possibility that extraterrestrial entities are not just occasional visitors, but are already established observers of Mars. Some theorists propose that advanced civilizations may have been monitoring our nascent space missions for decades, ensuring that human activity does not interfere with their own operations or interests. If this is the case, the presence of cylindrical UFO in close proximity to Curiosity is perfectly logical. It could be a probe or reconnaissance craft sent to document and assess our activities. The 2014 cigar-shaped UFO sighting remains one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for extraterrestrial activity beyond Earth. Its structured appearance, undeniable duration, and similarity to other historically reported UFOs make it extraordinarily difficult to dismiss. Whether it was an alien craft, a vehicle of unknown human origin, or something beyond our current comprehension, one truth is inescapable. Mars continues to be a hotspot for mysteries that defy easy explanation. Oddly enough, this is not the first time a phantom object has been documented near the Red Planet. The Phobos 2 mission stands as one of the most enigmatic and controversial chapters in the history of space exploration. Launched in July 1988, it was the Soviet Union's ambitious second attempt to study the Martian moon, Phobos. The mission's objectives were to analyze the Martian atmosphere, surface, and the gravitational peculiarities of the small, irregular moon. But what transpired in March of 1989 would eclipse all scientific goals. On March 27, 1989, just as the spacecraft was preparing for its final approach to Phobos, it captured a series of astonishing and ultimately final images. Among them was a photograph that would become the subject of intense global debate. It showed a long, cylindrical object, a cigar-shaped UFO, hovering ominously in the space between the spacecraft and the Martian surface. Unlike any known celestial body, this object had a smooth, manufactured appearance and, most tellingly, cast a distinct, geometric shadow on the terrain of Mars below. The precise shape and alignment of this shadow provided irrefutable evidence that it was not a trick of light or a sensor artifact, but a solid, physical object occupying real space. The presence of this unidentified craft immediately raised alarming questions about what Phobos 2 had stumbled upon. The object's elongated, structured form did not match any known asteroid, comet, or natural geological formation. Furthermore, unlike ordinary space debris, which typically tumbles or drifts, this object appeared to be under controlled, intelligent guidance. Researchers were quick to note the striking resemblance this object bore to other cigar-shaped UFOs reported in Earth's atmosphere and in deep space, suggesting a common and unknown origin. The most chilling aspect of the entire encounter was the immediate consequence. Shortly after transmitting this image and other anomalous data back to Soviet mission control, Phobos 2 suddenly and irrevocably lost contact. The spacecraft, which had been functioning flawlessly up until that precise moment, was gone. This abrupt silence, occurring directly on the heels of capturing the unexplained object, led to widespread speculation that the encounter itself was a cause. Some researchers and former Soviet scientists have suggested that Phobos 2 was deliberately disabled by an external force to prevent it from gathering or transmitting further data. The official Soviet Space Agency provided no clear explanation for the loss, attributing it to a possible computer failure. However, the stunningly coincidental timing has never been satisfactorily addressed. This sequence of events, capture an image of an intelligently controlled object, then immediately goes silent, has led many to conclude that the spacecraft was neutralized. Adding to the intrigue, high-level Russian scientists involved in the mission later hinted in press conferences that an unknown force, or foreign object, was responsible, but official channels quickly closed around the incident, and the full data has never been publicly released. The Phobos 2 incident remains one of the most compelling pieces of evidence that our exploration of space may be monitored and perhaps even contested. The clear, structured image of the object, its definitive shadow, and the catastrophic, immediate loss of the spacecraft form a chain of evidence that is difficult to ignore. To this day, NASA and other global space agencies have offered no official comment, a silence that only deepens a mystery. The Phobos 2 incident serves as a stark reminder that the cosmos may be filled with more than just empty space and dead rocks. It may be a realm where we are the newcomers, watched by intelligences we have only just begun to glimpse. As new missions from both public and private entities descend upon Mars, the world waits, watching the red sands for the next clue, the next shadow, the next undeniable proof that the story of Mars is inextricably linked to our own. In the profound stillness of our solar system, where celestial bodies often seem frozen in time for eons, a sudden and inexplicable change can shatter our understanding. This is precisely the drama that unfolded when NASA's Cassini probe witnessed a phantom structure, a so-called magic island, materialize on the hydrocarbon seas of Saturn's moon, Titan, and then vanish without a trace, leaving scientists grapple with one of the most beguiling mysteries in modern planetary science. Titan, a world larger than the planet Mercury, hangs in the void over 1 billion kilometers from Earth. It is a place of profound paradox, a moon with a thick, hazy atmosphere richer in nitrogen than our own, and a landscape carved by rivers and seas not of water, but of liquid methane and ethane. Among these alien bodies of water lies Ligeia Mare, a vast northern sea hundreds of kilometers across and plunging to depths of over 150 meters. It was upon this dark, glassy expanse that the anomaly appeared. During a routine pass, Cassini's instruments captured a brilliant, white feature blossoming roughly 10 kilometers from the shoreline. This magic island was staggering in scale, 19 kilometers long and 9 kilometers wide. A stark, bright smudge against the sea's typically featureless, mirror-smooth surface, which is normally undisturbed by wind in Titan's calm atmosphere. Then, just 16 days later, during Cassini's next flyby, the feature had disappeared completely, as if it had never been. The sudden apparition and subsequent evaporation of such a colossal structure defied all conventional explanation, presenting a planetary-scale conjuring trick. The scientific community immediately ignited with theories to explain the phenomenon. Some propose that as Titan's northern hemisphere tilted gradually toward the sun, seasonal changes might have stirred the first-ever waves on its seas, creating a temporary, reflective froth. Others suggested floating icebergs of frozen hydrocarbons, breaking free from a subterranean shelf and drifting across the surface before melting or sinking back into the abyss. A more effervescent theory pointed to a massive, sudden upwelling of nitrogen gas from the seafloor, bubbling to the surface in a furious, frothing outburst before dissipating into the atmosphere. Still others pondered the possibility of suspended solids, a submerged slurry briefly rising into view before settling back into the depths. Yet, with only a single fleeting image to study, these ideas remain in the realm of compelling speculation. This event stands as one of Cassini mission's most profound puzzles, primarily because Titan is not just another inert ball of rock and ice. It is a preeminent candidate for harboring life, albeit life of a form unimaginable to us, a biology built not on water, but on liquid methane, operating with a radically different chemistry. Every anomaly, every ripple, every ghostly formation like the Magic Island is therefore a potential clue, a whispered dynamic processes that could, one day, point toward alien biology. The mystery continues to inspire fierce debate and fascination, a siren call for future missions. As we prepare to send landers and even drone-like rotors to soar through Titan's dense, golden skies, the memory of that vanishing act serves as a powerful reminder that even in the most seemingly static corners of the cosmos, the universe is alive with secrets, waiting to reveal themselves in fleeting, spectacular moments. The voice of a legend added another layer to our celestial mysteries. Buzz Aldrin, best known as one of the first two humans to walk on the moon during the historic Apollo 11 mission in 1969, has long been a visionary advocate for the future of space exploration. After his lunar excursion, where he spent 2.5 hours conducting experiments on the surface, Aldrin became a pivotal figure in advancing space technology, championing concepts like reusable spacecraft and human missions to Mars. In a revealing 2009 interview, while discussing how new missions could reignite public passion for space, he concluded with a startling declaration. "Visit the moon of Mars," he urged. "There's a monolith there, a very unusual structure on this little potato-shaped object that goes around Mars once every 7 hours. This Phobos monolith is an object that has captivated conspiracy theorists and scientists since the Viking probes first photographed Phobos, one of Mars's 2 small moons, in the 1970s. The monolith was initially proposed to be an artificial structure, perhaps erected by an extraterrestrial intelligence. While subsequent higher-resolution images from more advanced spacecraft have led most scientists to conclude it is a natural boulder, its unusually smooth, rectangular shape a product of erosion and peculiar lighting on the barren moon. The mystery persists for many. The monolith's solitary and imposing presence on an otherwise featureless landscape, with no similar formations in its vicinity, fuels belief in its deliberate placement. The mystery is amplified by Phobos itself, a silent, airless, and deeply strange world. Some astrophysicists have even proposed the moon is not natural at all, but hollow, artificial structure, citing its anomalous density and orbit. While similar anomalies on Mars, like the infamous face or pyramids, are routinely explained by pareidolia and erosion, the Phobos monolith stands apart. Proposed missions, such as the Phobos Reconnaissance and International Mars Exploration Prime, have aimed to land near the site to gather samples, but funding has remained elusive. As Aldrin himself predicted, the very existence of such a structure prompts a fundamental, haunting question. When people find out about that, they are going to say, "Who put that there?" In the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter lies Ceres, the largest of the asteroids, a world with a contested identity. Discovered in 1801, it was initially classified as a planet until the discovery of other similar bodies forced the creation of the new asteroid category. Had the definition of planet not been tweaked in 2006 to require an object to have cleared its orbital neighborhood, Ceres would be considered the solar system's 5th planet. But beyond the classification controversy, Ceres holds a far more active secret. NASA's Dawn spacecraft, which began orbiting Ceres in 2015, soon discovered a monumental 13,000-foot-tall mound, which scientists named Ahanamans. This was confirmed in 2016 to be a volcano, but not as we know it. Ahanamans is a cryovolcano, or ice volcano. Instead of spewing molten rock, it erupts with a frigid slurry of water, methane, and ammonia, which instantly freezes in the deep cold of space. These eruptions, called cryomagma or cryolava, are thought to form on icy worlds that once possessed abundant water. On Ceres, temperatures are far too cold to melt rock, but just warm enough to allow ice to melt and become a volatile, eruptive force. Scientists believe the massive impact that created the 57-mile-wide Decatur crater likely triggered this cryovolcanic activity, causing subterranean brines and gases to escape to the surface. This phenomenon isn't unique to Ceres. It has also been observed on moons like Enceladus, Europa, and Triton, offering a fascinating glimpse into dynamic, icy geology that dominates the outer solar system. Meanwhile, the dream of space travel is being redefined for a broader audience. Worldview Enterprises, an Arizona-based company, is pioneering a revolutionary form of spaceflight using rocketless balloons to carry passengers into the stratosphere. Their journey, lifting a capsule carrying 8 people to an altitude of 18 miles, is a far cry from the brutal, rocket-powered ascent of companies like Blue Origin. While this peak falls short of the Kármán line, the internationally recognized 100-kilometer boundary of space, Worldview promises a gentle, prolonged experience lasting 6 to 8 hours, or even multiple days. For a starting ticket price of $50,000, passengers will witness the curvature of the Earth and the profound blackness of space. The company plans up to 100 flights annually over iconic landmarks like the Great Barrier Reef and the Pyramids of Giza. CEO Ryan Hartman insists this is not a mere joyride, but a mission to commoditize space travel, making it accessible to families and couples, not just elite astronauts. The inaugural flight, already sold out to the nonprofit Space for Humanity, will launch from Arizona, signaling a potential new chapter for travel industry. This expansion into the cosmos occurs as we remain vigilant to the dangers lurking within it. NASA recently announced that a sizable asteroid, over 300 feet in length, will pass within 100,000 miles of Earth, twice as close as the Moon. While NASA's Near-Earth Object Observations program actively tracks such threats, the agency admitted that a similar-sized asteroid was missed until it already passed by in November 2021. The impact of a 300-foot object would be devastating, capable of creating a massive crater, triggering tsunamis, and ejecting enough debris into the atmosphere to cause global climate cooling and crop failures, highlighting the critical importance of planetary defense. In the depths of space, astronomers are studying a different kind of predator, a Black Widow pulsar system located 10,000 light-years away. Designated J0610-2100, this system consists of a rapidly spinning, collapsed star that pulses every 3.8 milliseconds, slowly devouring its smaller companion star. The pulsar not only strips matter from its neighbor, but also batters it with relentless blasts of energy, a process that is likely to continue for millennia. What makes this Black Widow unique is its astonishing stability. Unlike its temperamental counterparts, it has shown no changes in timing over 16 years of observation, and its lack of a radio eclipse, a common feature where the companion star briefly blocks the pulsar's emissions. This stability makes it a perfect natural laboratory for detecting gravitational waves, the ripples in space-time predicted by Einstein, which are generated when massive objects collide. Finally, the distant dwarf planet Pluto has revealed its own stunning secret. Data from NASA's New Horizons spacecraft has confirmed the presence of giant ice volcanoes, suggesting a geologically active world. These cryovolcanoes, unlike the raging fire mountains of Earth, erupted with a slushy mixture of water ice, ammonia, and methane that ooze across the surface, forming massive domes. The lack of impact craters in the region suggests these volcanoes were active a mere 100 to 200 million years ago, a blink of an eye in geological terms, and may still harbor the warmth for future eruptions. This recent activity bolsters a theory that Pluto possesses a subsurface liquid ocean, dramatically increasing the slim but tantalizing possibility that this frozen world at the edge of our solar system could harbor the conditions necessary for life, challenging our understanding of where life could potentially arise.
Over recent years, the soil of Mexico has begun to whisper secrets. Strange and remarkable discoveries have quietly surfaced, not from planned archaeological digs, but from the trenches of construction sites and the chance uncovering of buried objects. These are not the familiar relics of known ancient cultures. They are artifacts that defy categorization, bearing unusual designs that seem to echo across the ages. Images, now circulating through the veins of social media, reveal carvings of beings with enlarged, graceful skulls and massive, obsidian eyes. Their forms bear an uncanny, almost unsettling, resemblance to the modern archetype of the extraterrestrial. The mystery is amplified by how they were found not by scholars, but by workers in the midst of mundane labor, unearthing wonders while clearing land or digging foundations. This randomness, this sense of a truth stumbled upon, electrifies the air with questions. The carvings themselves are starkly different from typical Mesoamerican art. Humanoid figures stare out from the stone with oversized heads and elongated, penetrating eyes. Some appear to hold strange, unidentifiable objects. Are these representations of advanced technology, or sacred symbols whose meaning has been lost to the millennia? For a global audience, the parallel to the modern grey alien is simply undeniable. And researchers remind us, over 97% of the human story is a blank page. Written history is but a flicker in the long night, and oral traditions, though precious, can shift like sand. Vast epochs of our past are hidden in shadow. In this context, these Mexican artifacts could be fragile fragments of a forgotten chapter, evidence of a sophisticated civilization whose epic has been erased from memory. Proponents of this idea point to a haunting pattern. Across the globe, cultures separated by oceans and centuries all depict similar beings, entities with large, knowing eyes and unusual heads. From cave paintings to stone stelae to ancient myths, the same narrative emerges: visitors from the stars. Could this be a shared, racial memory of contact with advanced beings, preserved in art and legend? The diggers themselves have come forward, their testimonies adding a human layer to the mystery. They speak of accidental discovery, not intentional search. One man recounts submitting a found artifact to a museum, only to be told later it had been misplaced. Such disappearances fuel a deep-seated suspicion that these challenging truths are being quietly sequestered, hidden from public scrutiny. Another cluster of finds was reportedly unearthed during the monumental Mayan train project. From the earth came more of these peculiar figures: large eyes, oval heads, patterns that whisper of other worlds. While local news briefly flickered with the story, it vanished from mainstream view, leaving behind only the ghost of evidence in photographs and online accounts. Skeptics, of course, cry hoax. Yet, the circumstances defy easy dismissal. These were found by construction crews with no motive for forgery. That similar objects emerge from unrelated locations lends them a powerful credibility. The artistry, too, speaks of age. The stone is worn, the craftsmanship consistent with ancient techniques. While definitive scientific dating is pending, they feel intrinsically old. If authentic, they point to an advanced Mexican civilization with a knowledge and belief system alien to our history books. They could be literal records of encounters with beings from beyond Earth, immortalized in stone by awestruck artists. Or perhaps they are visions, figures glimpsed in dreams, trances, or altered states of consciousness. Then, the plot thickened. Shortly after the initial discoveries, more artifacts emerged. These new pieces depicted disc-shaped objects, crafted with a precision that evokes advanced machinery. They are adorned with geometric markings and evenly spaced holes, some with engravings that suggest propulsion or systems unknown to primitive pottery. Even more compelling, small statuettes were found alongside them, humanoid figures standing solemnly beside these discs. The message is deliberate. A story was being preserved. The humanoids are striking, with large eyes and features that share nothing with known Mesoamerican styles, but everything with the visitors described in modern encounter lore. The consistency is what captivates. From the petroglyphs of the Americas to the carvings of Africa and Asia, the same shapes and figures appear in cultures that never met. The parallels suggest a shared experience, either a physical encounter or a visionary state so profound it inspired the same otherworldly depictions across the globe. These Mexican artifacts are now some of the most tangible pieces in this grand puzzle. With 97% of history lost, they might be fragments of a hidden memory, waiting in clay and stone for us to rediscover. For now, the mystery persists. Are they art, ritual objects, or genuine documentation? The truth is buried under layers of time. But they stand as silent, powerful sentinels, challenging us to reconsider the depth of our past and the secrets history still holds. But the mysteries of our world are not confined to buried artifacts. In the shadowy, forgotten corners of the planet, where human presence is a whisper, other tales emerge. Our story now travels to the remote Lebron Islands, an archipelago in the Solomon Sea, abandoned to nature, where a fisherman's routine day would turn into an encounter with the impossible. The man, a seasoned fisherman, navigated his small boat through the rocky channels, seeking the abundant marine life. As he anchored near the largest island, an unusual sight pulled his gaze shoreward. There, past the shoreline, partially obscured by the dense tree line, stood a massive figure. At first, He thought it a tall human, perhaps a member of an undiscovered tribe. But as he zoomed in with his camera, his blood ran cold. The figure was humanoid, but stood at least 10 feet tall, with long, powerfully muscular limbs, all covered in dark, matted hair. The creature moved slowly, deliberately, through the hills, seemingly unaware of its observer. The fisherman's hands trembled as he captured his evidence. Most photos were a blur, but one frame held true. In it, the colossal being is clear, a silhouette of immense power and otherness. He watched, awestruck, as the giant humanoid melted back into the impenetrable forest. The image, he insists, shows a being far beyond any known human or animal. This account did not emerge in a vacuum. The Solomon Islands are steeped in legends of giants. Local oral traditions speak of the *Mangis* or *Momo*, a race of colossal beings, towering over humans, who dwell deep within the lush jungles. They are revered as ancient guardians of the land, possessors of hidden knowledge, their nature a blend of the benevolent and the fearsome. In the 21st century, researchers like Marius Boyan have taken these legends seriously. An Australian who married into the local culture, Boyan documented tales of the Guadalcanal giants, beings over 10 feet tall, with long, dark hair, protruding red eyes, and wide mouths. His work suggests the indigenous people may be sitting on a scientific revelation without realizing its global significance. The legends are not abstract. The community knows the tragic story of Mango, a woman taken by the giants half a century ago. She lived among them for 25 years, was presumed dead, and then reappeared on a coastline, pregnant and delirious. Rescued with difficulty, her life was one of enduring trauma. Her mixed-descent son, shunned by the village, met a tragic early end. This story is not unique, it is a pattern, a dark thread in the fabric of local lore. And the giants are not just a relic of the distant past. During the fierce Pacific campaigns of World War II, the Solomon Islands became a hellish battleground. American and Japanese soldiers, fighting in the dense, disorienting jungles, began reporting encounters that echoed the local legends. Soldiers on patrol spoke of fleeting glimpses of enormous, hairy humanoids, between 8 and 12 feet tall, moving silently through the foliage. Some accounts are more vivid, tense standoffs with deep-set eyes glowing in the darkness, the discovery of caves containing large, crude tools. Military command often dismissed these as jungle fever dreams, but the stories persisted, becoming a whispered part of wartime lore. The consistency between the soldiers' accounts and the ancient indigenous legends is staggering. It suggests these sightings are more than mere myth or hallucination. They represent a profound intersection of Western experience and native knowledge, a fusion of folklore that points toward a terrifying possibility. Whether these giants are undiscovered primates, manifestations of deep-seated belief, or something else entirely, their legend is etched into the very landscape. From the buried, alien-like artifacts of Mexico to the towering, primordial figures of the Solomon Islands, our world continues to guard its deepest secrets, reminding us that the map of the known still has vast, unexplored territories. Picture this. A tiny, genetically engineered insect has become the epicenter of a global health controversy. In the sun-drenched landscapes of Queensland, Australia, a scientific proposal ignites a firestorm of debate. The plan, backed by the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organisation, is audacious. Release millions of Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, the primary vector for dengue fever, but with a lethal, built-in genetic code. This is the brainchild of Oxitec Australia, a partnership between a British biotech firm and Australia's premier science agency, a strategy designed to suppress mosquito populations from within. Yet, beneath the promise of a disease-free future, a chorus of scientific concern is rising, warning of potential ecological chaos and the undermining of hard-won public health victories. The genetic modification is a masterstroke of precision. The male mosquitoes, harmless nectar feeders, are engineered to carry a gene that ensures their female offspring never reach adulthood. Since only the females bite and transmit disease, the plan is to unleash these modified males into the wild. They will mate, and their legacy will be a generation that simply fades away, leading to a population collapse. On the surface, it's an elegant, chemical-free alternative to traditional insecticides. But the devil, as they say, is in the details and in the origin of these lab-grown insects. This particular strain is not an Australian native. It hails from Mexico, tested in the fields of Brazil and the United States, but never before introduced into the delicate tapestry of Australian ecosystems. Scientists like Dr. Perrin Ross of the University of Melbourne, a veteran of over a decade of mosquito research, voice formidable opposition. He warns that releasing a foreign strain is a genetic gamble, risking the introduction of new genes into local populations. The fear. These genes could include those conferring resistance to insecticides. While Australian Aedes aegypti remain largely vulnerable to pyrethroid chemicals, a critical advantage, resistance is a rampant problem elsewhere. This intervention could shatter that defensive line. Then there is the question of climate. These Mexican mosquitoes carry genetic adaptations honed for their native environment. Could they unintentionally gift Australian populations with traits to survive harsher, drier conditions? This unpredictable variable raises a spectre of a more resilient, harder-to-control pest. Dr. Ross stresses that while exact outcomes are unknowable, the risks of such genetic cross-contamination are far too grave to ignore. The controversy deepens with the threat to an existing, and remarkably successful, program. Since 2011, the World Mosquito Program has been quietly waging its own war, releasing mosquitoes infected with Wolbachia**, a naturally occurring bacterium that blocks the transmission of dengue virus. Over a decade, this approach has virtually erased dengue as a public health threat in far north Queensland. Professors like Cameron Simmons, who leads the global program, argue that the introduction of genetically modified competitors could destabilize this delicate balance. If the two mosquito populations interbreed, the proven Wolbachia* strategy could be compromised, undoing years of progress. The ecological consequences cast an even longer shadow. Mosquitoes, for all their menace, are a fundamental link in the food chain, sustenance for birds, bats, and fish. A dramatic suppression of their numbers could send shockwaves through entire ecosystems, forcing predators to seek alternative prey and potentially destabilizing the natural order. Critics warn that tampering with these complex relationships without full understanding is a perilous game. And then, there is evolution itself, the ultimate wild card. History has shown that when a population faces an existential threat, evolution finds a way. Should even a small number of mosquitoes survive the genetic onslaught, they could pass on resistant traits, creating a new generation of super mosquitoes far more difficult to control. In essence, the solution could spectacularly backfire, accelerating the very problem it seeks to solve. This debate stretches far beyond the laboratory walls, touching on profound ethical and cultural questions about our right to engineer the creatures in our shared environment. Unlike a contained lab experiment, a release into the wild is permanent and irreversible. Any unintended consequences become a legacy for future generations. The CSIRO and Oxitec maintain they will proceed only after rigorous regulatory approval and community consultation, arguing that in a world of expanding mosquito habitats due to climate change, every tool is needed to combat diseases like Zika. The scientific community stands at a crossroads, divided between the enormous potential of genetic engineering and the caution born from historical ecological missteps, like the introduction of cane toads. The proposed release in Queensland thus becomes a powerful symbol of the delicate balance between innovation and precaution, forcing a difficult question: do the potential benefits of a future free from disease outweigh the profound and unknown dangers? Beneath the surface of our vast, beautiful oceans, a mystery is unfolding. The deep blue holds secrets, and now, its largest inhabitants are sending us a desperate signal. Recently, marine biologists have raised the alarm. Whales, along with dolphins, octopuses, and turtles, are behaving strangely, with a rising and disturbing global trend of beachings. These are not isolated incidents, they are cryptic reports from the animal world that are leaving scientists baffled. Across the United States, birds have been observed falling from the sky, prompting urgent studies. While many theories exist, none fully explain this wave of aberrant behavior, and the whale beachings, in particular, have experts deeply worried. The whales washing onto California's shores are a specific cause for concern. For years, We have failed to treat the oceans with the respect they deserve, and now we are witnessing the consequences. More than 20 of these leviathans have perished on the golden sands within just a few months. Researchers point to a complex web of factors: the ongoing climate crisis and, most acutely, violent collisions with ships moving at high speeds. In the California Bay Area, a fin whale and a massive 47-foot pygmy sperm whale were found beached. Earlier in 2022, 4 whales washed up in less than 10 days. That year alone, just over a dozen were discovered deceased. According to Michael Milstein, a spokesman for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the entire phenomenon is both typical and extremely concerning. Yet, 2022 was not the worst year. 2019 saw 34 whale deaths, and 2021 saw 18. By comparison, this has been calmer, yet the trend remains ominous. Since 2019, investigations have struggled to pinpoint a single, direct cause for this frightening toll. Our sea life is clearly under threat. Fortunately, the overall whale population is not yet endangered, but if this path continues, their future is uncertain. Just 6 years ago, biologists estimated 26,000 whales in Northern American oceans. By 2022, they believe the number has fallen below 20,000. While still sustainable, the decline is rapid. This intent to sue was triggered by a harrowing incident in May 2022, when a San Diego military destroyer vessel entered port with the carcasses of 2 fin whales, a mother and her calf, dragged against its hull. The Navy claimed the crew was unaware of the strike, only discovering the whales upon docking. A coalition between the National Marine Fisheries Service and the Center for Biological Diversity formed to confront this rampant issue, demanding the Navy be held accountable. Kristen Monsell, legal director at the center, stated, "We're glad to see the Navy re-examining the harms of its training exercises on these mighty but vulnerable creatures. These military activities can wreak havoc on whales, dolphins, and other marine mammals through explosions, sonar, and ship strikes. We hope this process leads to new mitigation measures like slowing ships down in important whale habitats." While not solely to blame, the Navy's vessel strikes are a confirmed factor exacerbating the problem. Back in April, the center petitioned for a 10-knot speed limit in whale habitats. Federal records reveal that on the West Coast alone, over 26 ship strikes killed whales within a 4-year period. In nature, whales can live as long as humans, making us a primary cause of their demise. Recent studies show vessel strikes are twice as dangerous as previously thought. It is theorized the annual death toll could be 20 times the recorded number, as whales that don't wash ashore sink, vanishing forever. The Navy's use of underwater explosions for military practice further jeopardizes sea life. The blasts may not always cause immediate death, but the aftermath is horrific. Whales can fall sick, become infertile, or suffer disrupted breeding, feeding, and migration cycles. Zooplankton, the very foundation of the aquatic food web, is also severely damaged by the concussive sound. Currently, the Navy operates under a permit granted in 2018, extended to 2025. This permit grants them exemption from repercussions for injuring or harming sea mammals, as long as the numbers do not exceed 12.5 million. So far, reported injuries include over 3,000 various marine mammals, 20 of them humpback whales, and nearly 10,000 cases involving blue whales. Marine biologist Mrs. Manning from the UK confirms that sea life behavior has fundamentally changed over the last 40 years, with documented proof of whales and dolphins acting erratically. She notes that whales are colliding with ships at high speeds and that many marine creatures are deviating from their natural navigation, often due to human-caused injuries from fishing or increasingly cluttered shipping lanes. A compelling study found a direct correlation between aberrant whale behavior and Navy sonar. While an invaluable tool, the early use of sonar did not consider its impact on marine life. There are 2 types: passive sonar, which listens, and active sonar, which emits powerful sound pulses. The latter, specifically low-frequency active sonar, LFA, is devastating. It emits sound at nearly twice the decibel of a rock concert, maintaining that intensity 300 meters underwater. For whales, who rely on long-range sound to communicate, navigate, and find food, this is catastrophic. LFA sonar has caused whales to lose contact with their pods, cease foraging, and flee in panic, leading to rapid ascents or deep dives. It causes hearing loss, hemorrhaging, and has contributed to mass strandings, disproportionately affecting deep-diving beaked whales. In 2012, a legal battle found the Navy in violation of the Marine Mammal Protection Act. The National Marine Fisheries Service was ordered to impose limitations, and environmental groups have since restricted its use to designated, mammal-free zones. Yet, despite the evidence, the Navy is still permitted to use this damaging technology in our shared oceans. ******. In the quiet town of East Jordan, Michigan, a home security camera captured something that defied ordinary explanation. Glenn Thorman, the local fire chief, received 2 photographs from his motion-activated system, images that would lead him to describe an awe-inspiring encounter with what he believes was an angel. The first photo shows a hazy, indistinct form hovering directly above his pickup truck. A second image, taken moments later, captures the same obscured object in motion, drifting away into the night. Thorman immediately sent the photos to his church leader, Pastor Daniel Moe of the Jordan Rivers Church. Recognizing their profound significance, Moe took to social media to share the images. For him, the presence was a divine protector, a celestial guardian watching over the home as. From the hallowed silence of small village chapels to the soaring naves of grand cathedrals, an extraordinary and deeply moving phenomenon is captivating the faithful across the globe. In an age of skepticism, hundreds of reports are emerging of statues of the Virgin Mary appearing to weep. Witnesses, their voices hushed with reverence, describe the formation of liquid tears in the eyes of these sacred icons, watching as they gather and trace a slow, glistening path down serene porcelain or wooden cheeks. These events have become powerful magnets for crowds of believers, many of whom interpret the tears as divine signs, miraculous messages of comfort or urgent warnings delivered during times of profound hardship and uncertainty. In a quiet, unassuming village near the city of Leon, Mexico, one such event has left an entire community suspended in a state of awe. Within the humble walls of a local church, parishioners reported witnessing an occurrence that transcends human understanding. A statue of the Virgin Mary was seen shedding tears not of clear water, but of blood. The visceral image of the Holy Mother with crimson streaks flowing down her face has ignited social media, transforming the quiet sanctuary into a destination for pilgrims, the devout, and the simply curious, all drawn by the need to see this potent symbol for themselves. Such manifestations are exceedingly rare in the annals of religious history. While there have been scattered reports of statues weeping with a water-like substance, the appearance of sanguine tears, tears of blood, is documented in only a handful of cases worldwide. For the faithful, this event near Leon carries a profound and somber weight. If ordinary tears represent sorrow and divine compassion, then tears of blood are universally interpreted as a more alarming, visceral portent. Many locals perceive it as a stark sign that dark and challenging days may be approaching, a celestial warning urging humanity to reflect, repent, and fervently return to the bedrock of their faith. Witnesses present in the church that day described the atmosphere as thick with a palpable, solemn emotion. Many confessed to being overwhelmed by a complex tide of sadness, reverence, and even a trace of holy fear as they watched the scarlet tears slowly trickle from the statue's unseeing eyes. Some fell instantly to their knees in fervent prayer, their hearts convinced that the Virgin Mary herself was reaching across the veil with a powerful, urgent message. Others wept openly, feeling they were in the presence of a rare and direct sign from the heavens, a call to reclaim spiritual values in a time increasingly marked by uncertainty and social unrest. The small church near Leon has since been transformed into a vibrant gathering place, a beacon for pilgrims and seekers from across the entire region. The space before the statue is now a tapestry of devotion, lined with flickering votive candles, fragrant bouquets of fresh flowers, and humble personal offerings. People come to pray for protection, to plead for healing, and to seek guidance in a troubled world. The parish priest has addressed the growing crowds, speaking of the paramount need for humility and deep reflection. He reminds all who will listen that miraculous signs, whether they bring joy or sorrow, ultimately serve a single, sacred purpose: to call humanity toward a deeper, more authentic faith and a greater unity with one another. The sight of the Virgin's blood-like tears is stirring a powerful, dual current of devotion and apprehension. For some, it is a stark, visual reminder of the immense suffering endured in the world today, particularly in regions where violence, poverty, and unrest have crushed the human spirit. For others, it is viewed as a divine signal, a final plea for humanity to change its course before even greater calamities befall it. Whether interpreted as a bona fide miracle, a prophetic warning, or simply an unexplainable mystery, the event near Lyon has touched countless hearts. It has served as a poignant reminder of the fragility of life, the enduring importance of compassion, and the persistent belief that even in the darkest of times, signs of a divine presence continue to manifest, offering glimmers of guidance and hope to all who seek them with a sincere heart. Meanwhile, another report has emerged from the small town of El Canal, in Quima, Mexico, where a remarkable event is drawing similar attention. A statue of the Virgin Mary, housed within the community's beloved church, has been filmed appearing to shed tears. Growing crowds have flocked to the sanctuary to witness what many are calling a miracle, with cell phone footage spreading like wildfire across social media platforms and igniting a widespread wave of awe and devotion. The recordings show distinct droplets forming in the corners of the Virgin's eyes, welling up and then rolling down her cheeks, leaving glistening trails along the statue's face. Several witnesses have even pointed to a faint, reddish hue surrounding the statue's eyes, interpreting it as further, chilling evidence that the Holy Mother has truly wept. For the believers gathered here, this phenomenon is far more than a mere curiosity. It is a direct message from a higher realm, meant to provide spiritual guidance and stir profound reflection in the hearts of all who witness it. A local observer, Mr. Ramos, has suggested that the Virgin's tears are a direct response to the severe hardship and violent unrest facing the people of Quima. He believes the weeping is inextricably tied to the escalating bloodshed within the region, a symbolic act that mirrors the profound sorrow felt for the suffering of the local community. To the faithful, the Virgin Mary's tears carry a heartbreaking message of divine compassion, a celestial being mourning alongside the people for the struggles they are forced to endure daily. This spiritual phenomenon arrives at a moment when Quima has been deeply scarred by turmoil. Reports from civic organizations have grimly described the city as one of the most troubled in all of Mexico. Recently, this reality was underscored when the United States government issued a formal travel alert, advising extreme caution for anyone visiting the region. For the locals, the Virgin's tears are seen as both a divine sign that their plight is witnessed and a solemn reminder that their daily difficulties have not gone unnoticed by heaven itself. As word of the weeping statue has spread, the church in El Canal has become a crucial hub not only for its own residents but also for pilgrims arriving from neighboring towns. They come to pray, to seek solace, and to quietly reflect on the deeper meaning behind the Virgin's tears. For them, the sight of the statue weeping is a powerful testament to the living nature of their faith, a tangible miracle that has, if only temporarily, bound people together in a shared moment of reverence and introspection during a period of immense distress. Whether interpreted as divine intervention or a powerful symbolic message, the Virgin Mary's tears in Quima have touched countless hearts, offering a complex mixture of hope and sober reflection in the face of relentless hardship. Far from the devout crowds of Mexico, in the remote, frost-rimed mines of the Sakha Republic in the far east of Russia, a group of miners made a discovery that would become a viral sensation. According to their account, their heavy machinery unearthed a remarkable statue from the frozen earth. The figure was imposing, adorned with a sword and shield, its body draped in a robe crafted from what appeared to be real cloth, and boasting a pair of large, imposing wings on its back. The video that circulated online confidently identified the mysterious effigy as a fallen angel. This intriguing find immediately sparked intense curiosity and wild speculation among viewers worldwide, fueling fervent discussions about its origins and the symbolism behind this unearthed marvel. The statue's intricate details, the careful design of the wings, the texture of the cloth robe captivated the online audience, leading to a proliferation of theories about its significance. As the story of this mystical statue spread, it served as a potent reminder of the strange wonders that might still lie hidden in the unexplored corners of our planet. The miners asserted they had discovered it using an excavator, emphatically pointing out that the object was emitting a mysterious form of energy. The excavation process, they claimed, involved the careful use of heavy machinery to lift the heavy, enigmatic statue from its ancient resting place. However, after the video gained widespread attention, Yakutia officials released a swift and dampening statement. They explained that the statue had, in fact, been present at the mining camp for a considerable period before the workers decided to turn it into an online sensation. Their original intention, the officials claimed, was mere amusement, a humorous gesture staged for the camera, without any foresight of its viral impact. The statue's presence at the camp was described as a casual affair, with the workforce simply seizing an opportunity to inject some fun and lightheartedness into their harsh working environment. Oddly enough, this official explanation only bred further skepticism among a segment of the online community. One user voiced a common sentiment, stating, "Has anyone noticed that whenever an interesting discovery like this is made, it's always immediately debunked? The articles that I have read don't fully explain what the object is and where it came from. All it mentions is that it was at the construction site, but that just raises more questions. Where was it found? What was it used for? And where is it now?" It's frustrating that our attention spans are so short that a couple of articles make us lose focus and stop asking questions. I could put an article out about other discoveries and state that they aren't real, but my words are baseless unless I've actively investigated these claims further. It just seems sometimes we are too quick to believe someone who wrote a random article that likely hasn't even seen the object. Adding another layer to the mystery, a man named Andre came forward with a compelling story. He claimed that this was not the first time an object like this had been found in Russia. He began his tale by describing two miners, digging away in the oppressive darkness of a remote mineshaft, their picks and shovels biting into the rocky earth with each laborious strike. As they delved deeper, their efforts were rewarded with the unmistakable sound of metal striking not stone, but something else, followed by an echoing thud that reverberated through the tunnel. Their curiosity piqued, the miners cleared away the debris to reveal the source of the sound. To their astonishment, nestled in the earth, was a solid stone statue of an angel. Carved from a single block, the statue exuded an air of timeless elegance, its features weathered by the passage of countless years spent entombed. As the miners gazed upon their find in awe, a sense of wonder and reverence filled them, for they knew they had stumbled upon something truly extraordinary. But Andre's story took a stranger turn. He claimed the discovery of the stone angel was immediately confiscated by men who looked as though they weren't from around here. He added that he knew this because one of the diggers was his own brother. They were never told where the structure was taken and have never heard anything about it since. In a revelation that fundamentally rewrites our understanding of early human ingenuity, scientists have confirmed that 1.2 million years ago, an unknown human species was masterfully creating tools from obsidian. Obsidian, a jet-black glass formed from rapidly cooled volcanic magma, is renowned for its ability to be knapped into the sharpest edges found on Earth. Its impressive characteristics have long earned it a reputation as one of the most formidable substances ever utilized by humanity. Yet, it poses significant challenges due to its delicate, conchoidal fracturing nature and the inherent dangers involved in its handling. Historically, the mastery of working with this volatile material was believed to have been achieved only by humans in the later stages of the Stone Age. However, recent discoveries are dramatically reshaping this timeline. In an in-depth exploration of the Melka Kuncha archaeological site in Ethiopia, a team of scientists has unveiled a remarkable discovery, an obsidian hand axe workshop, unearthed from a layer of sediment dating back an astonishing 1.2 million years. This revelation stands as the earliest confirmed instance of sophisticated obsidian crafting, marking a profound milestone in human technological evolution. The researchers behind the groundbreaking study emphasized that this workshop represents a unique establishment, the sole hand axe production facility ever identified from the early Pleistocene era. This groundbreaking find sheds brilliant light on the remarkable craftsmanship and technological prowess of our ancient ancestors, offering invaluable insights into their cognitive abilities and societal advancements during this incredibly remote period. While so-called knapping workshops from the latter part of the Middle Pleistocene have been identified in Europe, specifically in France and the UK, those sites are recognized for their production of flint tools. The Ethiopian site, by contrast, pushes the clock back hundreds of thousands of years. Throughout history, obsidian has been predominantly utilized from the Middle Stone Age onward, as noted by the researchers. Yet, at Melka Kuncha, The team unearthed an ancient sediment layer that housed a treasure trove of 578 stone tools, and with just 3 exceptions, all were made from obsidian. Their findings, backed by rigorous statistical analysis, indicate a deliberate and concentrated effort showcasing the production of highly uniform, symmetrical handaxes in what was clearly a designated, specialized workshop. This revelation underscores meticulous craftsmanship and organized activity that took place at this site. The scholars express palpable awe at the remarkable standardization of the axes, which highlights an incredible attention to detail in the creation process. Although the specific human species, perhaps Homo erectus or another ancestor responsible for crafting these tools remains unknown, the creators are credited for skillfully incorporating secondary retouches and demonstrating a clear, premeditated focus on perfecting the final form of each artifact. Their precision and dedication are evident in the deliberate refinement of each tool, showcasing a level of skill that was never before imagined for such an ancient epoch. Crafting uniform tools from obsidian demanded exceptional skill and finesse due to its extreme delicacy compared to rocks like flint or basalt. This required the ancient craftsman to possess precise, controlled techniques to nap the glassy stone without causing it to shatter catastrophically. Researchers elaborated that gauging the exact force of each strike was absolutely crucial. Too hard a blow would produce nothing but unusable shards or irrevocably damage the core. Achieving such homogeneity in obsidian work necessitated a keen, intuitive understanding of the material's unique properties, with these ancient artisans having to carefully assess the impact of every percussive touch. This intricate process highlights the sophisticated cognitive abilities and the meticulous, practiced nature of working with obsidian at this early date. The emergence of such advanced techniques is typically traced to the Upper Paleolithic period, tens of thousands of years later. Modern nappers emphasize the necessity of using protective gloves to prevent severe injury from obsidian's razor-sharp edges. A fascinating aspect of this discovery is how, despite the tool's antiquity of over 1 million years, their standardized nature serves as clear, stone-cut evidence for the consistent implementation of highly developed and deliberately taught skills. This represents a significant cognitive leap for a historically ancient population. The authors of the study posit that the innovation of adapting established flint napping methods to master the more difficult medium of obsidian showcases a form of convergent thinking, a concept linked to innovative, creative problem-solving. This cognitive leap exemplifies a deep and profound ability to adapt and overcome challenges creatively within this particular group of early humans, highlighting a remarkable capacity for ingenuity in response to their evolving world. The item in question, discovered not in a formal dig but through clandestine means, is not a traditional Torah scroll, but rather a singular Judean artifact of immense potential significance. Currently, a shroud of secrecy and a lack of verifiable information surrounds this specific object, fueling intense speculation. The setting for this discovery was the historically rich and extraordinary city of Arzan in Turkey, where a remarkably old and one-of-a-kind manuscript, crafted entirely from exquisite gold, was unearthed. The discovery did not result from a careful archaeological expedition, but was instead stumbled upon by a group of local diggers, likely operating outside the law. The police were soon called to the scene, where they apprehended a group of 4 individuals in the very act of attempting to commercialize this priceless artifact. This revelation sheds a stark light on the intricate and shadowy network of individuals involved in the illicit trade of cultural heritage. The book itself is relatively lightweight, tipping the scales at a mere 165 grams, and is adorned with a total of 14 gold leaves, each meticulously crafted from pure 24-karat gold. Its material value is overshadowed by its content, Jewish religious scriptures, carefully inscribed in the ancient Hebrew language. As of the present moment, individuals who managed to catch a fleeting glimpse of the book have reported that it was swiftly confiscated and removed by authorities. Currently, the whereabouts of the Golden Book remain a complete mystery, with no official information available on its location. This unsettling void of information has left many observers and scholars questioning the true circumstances leading to its abrupt confiscation. One compelling hypothesis suggests that the book may have contained scriptural information or textual variations regarding the Bible that diverged from commonly known and accepted versions, leading to its immediate seizure for closer, and perhaps clandestine, examination. This theory posits that discrepancies between the contents of this golden text and established biblical narratives triggered the intense scrutiny it underwent, the premise being that it may have presented perspectives that challenged orthodox traditions. Upon its initial discovery, photos were shared and circulated within various specialized groups, where scholars and amateur linguists attempted to decipher the content. Yet, a significant number struggled to grasp the underlying message conveyed by the book's script, its age and uniqueness making it a profound puzzle. Even though the circulated photographs may not offer significant insights to the public, workers and locals in the vicinity have reported that the mysterious disappearance of biblical artifacts is a frustratingly frequent phenomenon in that area, suggesting a pattern that extends far beyond this single case. The fascination with biblical artifacts has mesmerized people for generations, creating a bustling and often murky global market that attracts antiquities aficionados, wealthy collectors, and faithful followers, all eager to possess historical treasures infused with deep spiritual value. However, beyond the apparent allure lies a dark underworld of illicit excavation and trafficking, where invaluable relics are ruthlessly looted from unprotected archaeological sites, illicitly transported across borders, and then peddled on the clandestine market to the highest, most secretive bidder. The illicit trade of biblical relics is fueled by a complex interplay of powerful factors which encompass an insatiable desire for scarce and precious ancient objects, the profound enchantment associated with physically possessing fragments of biblical chronicles, and the promise of staggering financial gains. To certain individuals, obtaining a biblical artifact symbolizes a palpable, physical tie to a sacred history, enabling them to establish a closer, more personal bond with their beliefs and ancestry. Conversely, for others, it is a purely profitable venture, with these historical treasures commanding exorbitant, record-breaking sums in the underground markets. The allure of owning a piece of biblical history not only serves as a tangible testament to the past but also grants a powerful sense of reverence and spirituality, contributing to the multifaceted and deeply entrenched nature of this illegal trade. The methods by which individuals acquire biblical artifacts unlawfully exhibit a broad and brazen spectrum of strategies, encompassing activities like raiding archaeological sites discreetly under the cover of nighttime, offering bribes to complicit or indifferent local authorities, and engaging in the sophisticated falsification of documentation to facilitate the smooth, illicit transport of artifacts across international borders. In regions already marred by conflict and ongoing political turbulence, archaeological sites become especially susceptible to pillaging and devastation, with armed factions and criminal syndicates taking advantage of the prevailing disorder to exploit these vulnerable locations for their own financial gain. This unethical exploitation not only irrevocably undermines the cultural heritage and historical significance of these artifacts, but also perpetuates a vicious cycle of illicit trade and black market dealings that thrive in such precarious, lawless environments. In the shadowy realm of antiquities trafficking, once biblical artifacts are procured, they frequently make their way into the intricate web of the underground black market, where a complex chain of intermediaries, unscrupulous dealers, and private collectors engage in discreet, anonymous transactions. The cloak of anonymity and secrecy that shrouds the black market poses near insurmountable challenges in tracing the provenance of these artifacts, thereby providing an effective shield for sellers to operate with impunity and consistently outmaneuver law enforcement initiatives aimed at curbing these illegal activities. Moreover, some of the most high-profile artifacts undergo a process of laundering by being funneled through seemingly reputable channels such as prestigious auction houses and elite private collections, effectively camouflaging their illicit origins and adding layers of legal and logistical complexity to efforts aimed at uncovering the truth behind their acquisition and circulation. The ramifications of unauthorized excavation and trade of ancient relics from biblical times have wide-reaching and profoundly damaging impacts, presenting significant, irreversible dangers to our shared cultural legacy, the science of archaeological conservation, and the very authenticity of historical locations. The illicit plundering and despoiling of archaeological sites lead to the permanent disappearance of priceless cultural gems, irrevocably denying forthcoming generations essential insights into their own history. Furthermore, unlawful digging invariably entails the utter obliteration of archaeological context, wiping out crucial stratigraphic information about the societies, traditions, and civilizations that once thrived in these areas. This illicit practice not only jeopardizes the material remnants of the past, but also diminishes our collective understanding of the rich tapestry of human history and the intricate connections between various ancient cultures. Illegitimate excavations catastrophically disrupt the delicate balance of preserving our heritage, obliterating the intricate narratives that these archaeological sites hold in their layered soils. The smuggling of biblical relics also contributes significantly to a vicious cycle of violence, corruption, and instability in areas where archaeological sites become targets for plunder. The presence of armed conflicts and political instability dramatically worsens this already dire situation, creating ripe opportunities for criminal syndicates and armed factions to take advantage of vulnerable communities, looting their cultural treasures with brutal efficiency and without facing any consequences. The proceeds from the illicit selling of biblical artifacts often serve as a significant source of funding for various nefarious activities, including supporting terrorism, insurgency, and organized criminal operations. This insidious trade not only robs communities of their very heritage, but also perpetuates a cycle of harm and exploitation that thrives amidst chaos and conflict. The illegal selling of biblical artifacts not only has tangible, physical repercussions, but also encompasses profound ethical and moral dimensions. By commercializing revered and historical items, those involved in this illicit trade exploit deep-seated religious convictions and plunder cultural legacy solely for personal profit, showing a blatant disregard for the spiritual and cultural value these artifacts hold for the communities and traditions they were originally taken from. Furthermore, the depletion of cultural heritage through this looting poses a direct threat to the preservation and safeguarding of the multifaceted story of human history, leading to the potential obliteration of the unique narratives and traditions of marginalized populations from the annals of history. This undermines the fundamental essence of heritage conservation as well as perpetuates the exploitation and erasure of the historical voices and identities that form the essential backbone of our diverse, global societal structure. In a discovery that resonates with profound historical and spiritual significance, authorities in Nicosia, Cyprus, have announced the find of a manuscript believed to be a remarkably ancient edition of the Bible. Christianity stands out as one of the most prevalent and influential faiths globally, boasting a substantial following that spans continents and cultures. Even to those who may not adhere to its teachings, this religion holds an undeniable and profound significance in the annals of our world's history, having shaped laws, empires, and the very course of human civilization. Central to the essence of the world's major religions is the presence of a sacred text, typically taking the form of a voluminous book. This revered tome serves as the ultimate repository of the faith's fundamental tenets and beliefs, encompassing laws and narratives that are believed not to be of mere human origin, but to have been divinely revealed. With its rich tapestry of traditions, beliefs, and moral guidelines, Christianity has not only shaped the lives of its adherents for 2 millennia, but has also fundamentally influenced the broader societal and historical landscape, leaving an indelible mark on the collective consciousness of humanity. In Christianity, the foundational text is the Bible, which, despite having various versions and translations over the centuries, upholds a consistent core of principles across its books. The narratives within the Bible have served as primary moral guides, perceived as paths leading to the universal truths that humanity seeks in varying degrees. The significance of this sacred text was powerfully underscored by the recent development in Nicosia. The discovered manuscript was written in Syriac, the ancient dialect of Aramaic that served as a vital lingua franca and liturgical language for early Christians, utilized for preserving many of the most vital and foundational Christian texts. This finding promises to open a new window into the understanding of early Christian scripture and the dissemination of the faith across the ancient world.
In the shadow-dappled depths of the South Cascades, a single photograph has ignited a firestorm of debate, becoming one of the most intensely discussed pieces of evidence within the Bigfoot community in recent memory. Shared with the world to the Facebook group Bigfoot Believers, the image offers a glimpse of what appears to be a massive, adult Sasquatch, massively concealed within a dense tapestry of foliage. The moment captured is both striking and eerily intimate. A figure cloaked in rich, brown fur, with a powerfully pronounced brow ridge and deep set, intelligent eyes peering out from behind a veil of trees. Those who have scrutinized the photograph firsthand are heralding it as one of the clearest, most compelling visual documents of the legendary creature ever obtained. The photographer, who has chosen to remain a ghost in the machine, recounted an encounter as fleeting as it was unforeseen. He reported that while hiking through the rugged terrain of the South Cascades, camera in hand, he was casually documenting the forest around him. His eye was caught by what he initially dismissed as a curiously human-shaped rock formation, partially obscured by a thicket of ferns and pine boughs. Intrigued by the odd silhouette, he raised his lens and captured a single frame, thinking it little more than an interesting geological quirk. At that moment, he had no inkling of the truth his camera had seized. It was only later, in the quiet comfort of his home, that he zoomed in and felt a jolt of realization. The object he thought was stone possessed features far too lifelike. The intricate texture of the fur, the profound depth of the eyes, and the subtle, powerful structure of the face all screamed a single, impossible truth. This was not a boulder, but a massive, living creature, seamlessly fused with its environment. The witness added a chilling detail. The instant the shutter clicked, the figure seemed to roll or duck with startling agility, vanishing completely into the impenetrable green thicket. He admitted that had his gaze not been precisely fixed on that spot, he would have passed by completely unaware. This instantaneous act of camouflage and retreat has fascinated enthusiasts, who point out that this behavior is a cornerstone of Bigfoot lore. The creature is consistently described as a phantom, an expert in using shadows, trees, and undergrowth as a living cloak. The South Cascades, with its cathedral-like forests, treacherous slopes, and vast, untouched tracts of land, provides a perfect stage for such a being to remain a ghost. It is the chilling clarity of the creature's details in the image that has cemented its status. Unlike the legion of blurry, distant shots that haunt the community, this one reveals distinct, undeniable features. Shaggy, brown fur hangs from a formidable frame. A massive, shelf-like brow casts a shadow over its penetrating eyes, and a face that carries a haunting amalgamation of human and primal qualities. The proportions of the head, the wide jaw, the sunken eyes, align perfectly with descriptions whispered by witnesses for decades. The sheer, tangible presence of the figure radiates a palpable sense of power and ancient mystery that many find undeniable. Yet, the chorus of skepticism is never far behind. Detractors have proposed the image was staged using an elaborate costume, crafted with the intent to deceive. However, the circumstances surrounding the photograph raise compelling doubts about such a theory. The photographer shared the image from a burner account, deliberately obscuring his identity. He openly stated he desired no recognition, fame, or financial windfall, a motive starkly at odds with the typical hoaxer, who often craves the spotlight. This desire for anonymity, to share an experience without claiming any reward, lends an unusual air of credibility to his account. Within the Bigfoot community, the photo has generated a tidal wave of exhilaration. Veteran researchers have praised its clarity, calling it a potential landmark image. The creature's stillness, its near-perfect camouflage, and the subtle organic quality of its features all contribute to a powerful sense of authenticity for believers. This is not a grainy shape in a mist, but a direct, chilling look into the eyes of what could be a living Bigfoot in its elemental home. The setting of the South Cascades itself adds a profound layer of plausibility. This region is steeped in Sasquatch history, with reports stretching back generations. Its dense, isolating wilderness is the very definition of an ideal refuge for a large, intelligent primate to persist unseen. What makes this case resonate so deeply is its sheer ordinariness. The photographer wasn't on a monster hunt. He was simply a hiker with a camera who stumbled into a moment of profound strangeness. This spontaneity, this accidental nature of the encounter, lends it a weight that orchestrated expeditions often lack. Those who have analyzed the image pixel by pixel point to the naturalistic posture and flawless proportions of the creature. The slope of the brow, the way the fur drapes over its musculature, and the authentic play of forest light and shadow across its form are incredibly difficult to replicate with a suit. The evidence suggests something was physically present, a part of the landscape, not inserted into it. The viral spread of the photograph across social media has only intensified the great debate. In the Bigfoot Believers group, members have dissected every digital grain, adjusting contrast and zooming in on facial features with fervent dedication. Many have declared it the ultimate photographic evidence, while a cautious minority await further corroboration. Yet, the prevailing sentiment among believers is that this image is a significant, powerful addition to the enduring mystery. Ultimately, it serves as a potent reminder the legends hold on our imagination, a timeless tale straddling the line between myth and reality, where each new piece of evidence, whether a track, a sound, or a photograph, makes the possibility that something extraordinary walks in our wild places just a little harder to dismiss. In a separate but equally startling discovery, a set of photographs recently sent shockwaves through online cryptozoology circles. Posted to several dedicated Bigfoot Facebook groups, the images purport to show skeletal remains discovered on public land in California. According to the uploader, the bones were stumbled upon by chance, lying partially exposed in sandy, barren soil. The claim attached to the discovery is monumental, that these could be the first documented remains of a Sasquatch ever photographed. The first photograph is a close-up, graphic in its detail, of what appears to be a large, decayed foot structure still attached to a formidable lower leg bone. The size and shape are immediately evocative, drawing direct comparisons to plaster casts of alleged Bigfoot tracks, broad-toed, thick, and unerringly sturdy. The second photograph pulls back to reveal a wider, more haunting view of the skeletal frame, displaying ribs, limbs, and grim remnants of desiccated tissue clinging to the sun-bleached bones. The scene is illuminated by the harsh clinical beam of a flashlight, casting long shadows and deepening the aura of mystery surrounding what these remains might represent. The profound solitude of the North American wilderness sets the stage for another chilling account, with a line between camper and cryptid violently blurred. A man, whose name remains a secret, recently shared a photograph that has reignited eternal debate. The image, allegedly taken in a remote stretch of wilderness, shows a large, shadowy figure standing menacingly just outside the fabric walls of his tent, a figure that to many bears a striking and terrifying resemblance to the fabled Bigfoot. The anonymous hiker posted the photo to a popular outdoor forum, accompanied by a harrowing narrative. He was camping alone, far from designated trails, seeking the purity of solitude. As dusk bled into night, the forest fell into a deep silence, broken only by the rustle of leaves. Then came the sound that froze his blood, heavy, deliberate footsteps crunching through the underbrush, growing louder, closer. Paralyzed with fear inside his tent, he mustered the courage to unzip the flap a mere inch. What he saw, he claimed, sent a primal chill down his spine. A massive, hairy, broad-shouldered figure, towering just feet away, its eyes catching the dim light as it stared directly at his shelter. Acting on pure instinct, he snapped a single photo with his phone before the creature turned and melted back into blackness of the woods. The resulting photograph, now viral, is a masterpiece of ambiguity. In the poor light, a tall, dark, humanoid silhouette is unmistakable. The figure is covered in what appears to be thick, shaggy fur, with a powerfully built frame and long, heavy arms. While facial features are lost to the shadows, the outline, the conical head, the immense shoulders, is a perfect match for classic Bigfoot descriptions. Supporters argue the details are consistent and the perspective genuine, making it one of the most compelling close-range evidences in years. Skeptics, however, see a hoax, a person in a clever suit, or a digital fabrication. The man's continued anonymity and refusal to disclose the specific location fuel both sides of the argument. Believers see this as a protective measure against ridicule. Critics see it as a red flag, a lack of verifiable data. Yet, the photograph's impact is undeniable. It taps directly into the core of the legend, reminding us that in the vast, unexplored tracts of North America, the possibility of something unknown watching from the trees remains a powerful and enduring thrill. The summer of 2024 yielded another potential bombshell, this time from the misty forests of Washington State. An avid outdoorsman and wildlife enthusiast, Mr. Harper, retrieved a memory card from a trail camera he had placed deep in a wilderness near Mount Rainier. Scrolling through images of deer and raccoons, he was stopped dead by a single frame, a large bipedal humanoid figure, covered in dark, shaggy hair, striding through a forest clearing. The creature stood an estimated 7 feet tall, with a muscular frame, long arms, and a slightly cone-shaped head. The posture was upright, the gait natural, and it bore no resemblance to any animal Harper knew. The image once shared was met with a familiar dichotomy of awe and skepticism. Believers hailed its clarity and consistency with Pacific Northwest reports. The remote, untampered location of the camera added to its credibility. Skeptics proposed a bear on its hind legs or an elaborate prank. Harper, overwhelmed by the attention, has cautiously cooperated with researchers, hoping for further evidence. His photograph has reinvigorated expeditions and debates, adding a fresh, high-definition chapter to the enduring Washington State Bigfoot saga. The search for proof often leads to the basis of evidence, and a recent claim from a hiker in the Pacific Northwest has pushed the conversation into new, albeit unglamorous, territory. An experienced outdoorsman, trekking through the remote forest near Mount Hood, claims to have discovered what he believes to be Bigfoot droppings. The droppings, he described, were of an unprecedented size and cylindrical shape, unlike any bear scat he had ever encountered. The composition suggested an omnivorous diet, containing plant material, seeds, and even fragments of small bones. His photographs and sample collection, shared online, sparked intense debate. For believers, the size and content align with theories of a large, omnivorous primate. The location, a known hotspot for sightings, added further plausibility. The hiker has planned a return expedition with fellow researchers, aiming to set up trail cameras and scour the area for corroborating signs like footprints or hair. While far from conclusive, the discovery highlights the relentless, often gritty pursuit of tangible evidence, and the hope that even the most mundane of finds could one day crack the mystery wide open. Adding a layer of intriguing behavior to the physical evidence, a social media user shared a vivid account of a personal encounter. He described being deep in the woods when he locked eyes with a tall, hairy, humanoid creature. After a tense moment, the creature, he claimed, deliberately bent down, picked up a large stick, and struck a nearby tree, producing a loud, resonant knock, a classic example of tree knocking, often reported in Sasquatch encounters. This behavior is theorized by enthusiasts to be a form of communication or territorial signaling. While the dramatic detail lent credibility for some, skeptics argue it was a well-known trope easily co-opted for a fabricated story. The user's failure to provide a specific time or location for the event has left the account suspended in a frustrating limbo between compelling anecdote and unverifiable campfire tale. The mystery deepened with a series of nocturnal trail camera images from a secluded forest. The camera, set by a hunter, captured the silhouette of a large, crouched, humanoid figure. The creature, estimated at 7 to 8 feet tall, was covered in dark fur and possessed notably long limbs. Its crouched posture suggested foraging or deliberate attempt to remain concealed. Experts analyzing the image highlighted proportions as distinct from known wildlife like bears, pointing to the limb length and muscular definition as anomalous. While hoaxes were considered, the remote, automatic nature of the capture made this less likely. These images underscore the growing role of technology in the hunt, providing new, enigmatic data points in the search for the unknown. In one of the most emotionally charged claims, a man named James Whitaker reported a 2023 encounter in Washington State that resulted in a remarkably clear photograph. He described seeing a massive, dark-haired creature that stood out for one heartbreaking feature: its clearly swollen abdomen, which it cradled tenderly with one large hand. A pregnant Bigfoot. The photograph, showing the creature in sharp detail, sparked a firestorm. Enthusiasts saw it as revolutionary evidence of a breeding population, a vital step beyond mere sightings. Skeptics, however, found the clarity itself suspicious, claiming it was too good to be true. This reaction frustrated researchers, who noted a catch: 22 where blurry images are dismissed as inconclusive, while clear ones are immediately deemed fabrications. The image, with its poignant, almost human-like gesture, adds a powerful new dimension to the mythos, suggesting not just a monster, but a creature with depth, family, and a future. Finally, the serene world of the golf course became the unlikely stage for another dramatic sighting. A man approaching a green noticed movement in an adjacent river. What he first took for a bear revealed itself to be a tall, bipedal creature wading through the water with a fluid, powerful grace. The creature, covered in dark brown fur and standing an estimated 7 to 8 feet tall, paused mid-crossing, as if sensing it was observed, before continuing into the forest on the far bank. The The photograph the golfer captured is clear and detailed, showing a broad-shouldered, muscular figure in mid-stride. When shared with Bigfoot groups, it was met with immediate recognition, its clarity and setting providing a startling juxtaposition of the mundane and the miraculous, proving that encounters with the unknown can happen anywhere, even on the edge of a perfectly manicured fairway. The room holds a breath. The air is thick with the weight of what has been shown. I turn to the committee, my voice steady, deliberate. I would like to ask the committee to replay that video, the one Mr. Burroughs played earlier. My gaze sweeps across the witnesses before me. I want to ask every witness here, specifically those with sensor training, those who can recognize movement in an instant. If you could please roll that tape now. The screen flickers to life. Grainy footage plays, a silent ballet of impossible physics. Okay, while this is still rolling, I say, pivoting, Mr. Nuzatelli. Quick answers, yes or no. Are you aware of anything in the United States government arsenal that can split a Hellfire missile like this? No. And then perform that blob phenomenon? The object didn't keep its momentum. Anything? Nothing. Nothing. All right, I turn. How about you, Chief Wiggins? Nothing to my knowledge, ma'am. And you, Mr. Borland? A measured pause hangs in the air. I prefer to answer that in a SCIF. Understood. The video continues its silent, confounding loop. Does this video scare you? Yes or no? A chorus of replies. Yes. Wiggins. Yes. Mr. Nuzatelli? I had a different reaction. I was really happy that it got out. Thanks for providing that curiosity. All right, Mr. Borland. He leans forward. The room focuses. My name is Dylan Borland, former 1N1 Geospatial Intelligence Specialist, United States Air Force, active duty enlisted, 2010 to 2013. His words are clear, each one carrying the weight of a sworn statement. I have also been employed with BAE Systems and Intrepid Solutions as a senior analyst, an expert in analyzing video, radar, and advanced electro-optical imagery for the official identification of aerial, naval, and ground orders of battle. He takes a breath. The professional veneer cracks, revealing the steel of a whistleblower beneath. I am a federal whistleblower. I have testified to both the ICIG and ARO, with direct, first-hand knowledge of and experience with craft and technologies are not ours. Technologies reportedly operating without congressional oversight. The sentence lands like a stone. Because of my direct knowledge of the reality of certain legacy UAP programs, my professional career was deliberately obstructed. I have endured, sustained reprisals from government agencies for over a decade. He paints a scene from his past. Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, 2011 to 2013. 24-hour operations supporting special forces in the global war on terror. During the summer of 2012, my team was on standby for weather. I returned to my barracks. At approximately 0130 hours, he describes the site with cinematic clarity. I saw an approximately 100-foot equilateral triangle ascend from near the NASA hangar on base. The craft interfered with my telephone. It emitted no sound. The material it was made of appeared fluid, dynamic. I stood beneath this triangular craft for minutes. Then, it rapidly ascended to commercial jet altitude in seconds. It displayed zero kinetic disturbance. No sound. No wind displacement. It simply was and then was not. The narrative deepens, turning inward. Years later, through a sensitive position within a special access program, I was exposed to classified information from a UAP legacy crash retrieval program. During this time, intelligence officers approached me in fear for their own careers. They cited misconduct within these programs and retaliation identical to what I was already enduring. The list of reprisals is methodical, devastating. Medical malpractice by VA staff, denial of work I performed while enlisted, forged and manipulated employment documents, workplace harassment, including colleagues being directed not to speak with me, manipulation of my security clearance, blocked, delayed, and ultimately removed by certain agencies stripping my ability to be employed within the intelligence community. He leans in, the emotion raw but controlled. This retaliation against me and against individuals I know within these programs is what convinced me in March of 2023 to become a whistleblower. I came forward out of concern for people's lives, to ensure I did everything I could to let our elected representatives know the truth about what is happening within the executive branch. He details the fraught path, a meeting with ARO, undertaken with reservation due to public misrepresentations he assessed. Because of these concerns, I withheld sources and methods. I sought to protect current and former personnel with first-hand exposure to technologies of unknown origin. I did not want them facing further retaliation. A somber note, and unfortunately, a staff member ended up getting in some trouble because of that choice. The catalyst: after David Grush testified under oath in the summer of 2023, providing historic disclosure, I was then asked to go to the ICAG. I did so in August 2023. His tone turns icy. It was very clear, early in that video-recorded, sworn intake interview, that the objective was solely to assess how much I knew, not to move forward with an investigation into the new information I provided. The aftermath of that IG complaint still troubles me to this day. The consequences are present tense. Since my ICIG complaint, I have been prevented from resuming prior employment. I can confirm I am still blacklisted from certain agencies within the intelligence community. Multiple agencies have attempted phishing attacks to assess what I divulged to the Inspector General, including being asked to disclose details of my ICIG complaint during a counterintelligence polygraph for a position wholly unrelated to UAP matters, as recently as November 2024. He looks at each committee member, a man standing at a professional precipice. As I sit before you today, I and many other whistleblowers have no job prospects, no foreseeable professional future. In a nation, every single one of us came forward to defend. His voice strengthens, ringing with conviction. Numerous individuals have come forward in various ways to reveal the truth of the UAP reality. As patriots, as defenders of our nation, yet many feel discarded, isolated, hopeless, separated from the country they served. Efforts to rectify this for all whistleblowers have been difficult, troubling. He pauses, a moment of profound humanity. And to my fellow whistleblowers and officials who know this information, I offer you my apology. It is something I have never received, and I am giving it to you now. The conclusion is an oath recalled, a warning issued, a call to action. I swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States, an oath that demands truth and transparency for our republic to function. Each day these truths remain hidden. Humanity drifts further from the principles our nation was founded to uphold. Each day victims of crimes committed by agencies and companies maintaining the secrecy are denied justice. Is another day our Constitution is shredded. He acknowledges their work. In 2023, Patriots provided this committee and the executive branch with undeniable proof of the UAP reality. I commend your continued commitment. Then the stark, ultimate stakes. The future of humanity is one where we either travel to the stars or regress to the Stone Age with this technology. My career has been to deliver critical information to decision makers. Your role as elected representatives is to act on it. His final words are a hammer strike. The time to act is now. Thank you. A beat of silence hangs before a final pointed postscript is added, directed at the committee chair, the first director of ARO, who's long gone, still seems to act as its spokesperson. I would say, Madam Chair, perhaps we need to dig deep into ARO. I would encourage it. I'd be happy to send a subpoena to Mr. Kilpatrick. Our scene shifts. From the charged atmosphere of the hearing room, we are transported to the vast, silent expanse of the Antarctic wilderness, a realm of ancient ice and profound mystery, where secrets are preserved in a deep freeze. Our story here is of a discovery. A man named James, alone before the glow of his computer screen, scours digital maps of Antarctica. He is one of many modern explorers who hunt for anomalies in this last frontier, their finds often fueling dedicated online communities of mystery and speculation. As he zooms in on a remote, featureless region, his cursor halts. Nestled amidst the endless white, a perfect, stark circle is etched into the snow and ice, a geometric aberration against nature's chaos. He cannot believe what he is seeing. The moment he shares this image, a seemingly embedded, disc-like object, the digital world erupts. A firestorm of speculation, fascination, and intrigue ignites across Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. For some, it is one of the clearest UFO artifacts ever found. For others, a subject for jokes about extraterrestrial tourists in the cold. For a dedicated few, it becomes a focal point of deep, urgent debate about a hidden history. Competing narratives clash. Is a revelation a hoax or a mere trick of light and shadow? Yet, as amateur researchers quickly note, this is not an isolated phantom. Reports of unidentified objects embedded in Antarctic ice are persistent, elusive thread in polar lore, accounts stretching back decades, describing strange metallic shapes protruding from the glacial sheets, their forms disc-shaped, cylindrical, or triangular, glinting under the weak polar sun. The most compelling evidence now comes from above. Satellite imagery, captured by various agencies, reveals anomalous shapes and formations hidden beneath the continent's frozen skin. These cryptic glimpses fuel theories. Are they remnants of crashed craft, ancient artifacts from a lost epoch, or evidence of something visiting from much, much farther away? The quest for answers is hamstrung by the very nature of Antarctica itself, a brutally remote and inhospitable fortress. Yet, the drive to know persists. Researchers brave the elements, driven by an insatiable curiosity. Some theories point not outward to the stars, but inward to a lost past. They suggest these forms could be the traces of ancient, even pre-glacial civilizations, advanced societies whose geometric ruins now lie buried, waiting to be unearthed. Others see a more contemporary secret, that Antarctica's isolation makes it an ideal hotspot for extraterrestrial activity, a hidden port of call, with these objects being stranded vessels or deliberate deposits. Despite the tantalizing possibilities, the truth remains locked in ice. Skeptics see natural geology or pareidolia. Believers see a truth being slowly, reluctantly revealed. The mystery is not only below, but above. The history of UFO sightings over Antarctica is as old as polar exploration itself. Early adventurers told tales of strange lights dancing in the perpetual twilight, mysterious objects darting among the clouds, folklore passed down through generations. Modern technology has pulled this lore into sharper focus. Satellite imagery now captures what those early explorers could only describe: anomalous objects hovering above the ice. In one notable instance, NASA's own Earth observing systems recorded a series of distinct, disc-shaped crafts suspended over the continent, images that spread online and sparked fierce debate. Eyewitness accounts from research stations add fuel. Bright lights performing erratic, impossible maneuvers, phenomena with no conventional explanation. Theories again diverge. Could these be terrestrial? Secret military projects tested in the ultimate isolation? Or are they the true signatures of visitors, using the pole as a gateway? The challenge of investigation remains immense, but the search continues. Scientists analyze data, gather testimonies, and deploy new technologies. Try to pierce the veil of this persistent aerial mystery. Our narrative descends into two of the most enduring and controversial legends tied to the ice. The first is the story of Admiral Richard E. Byrd. The celebrated American polar explorer, a hero of aviation, is central to a tale that strays from the official record. According to leaked entries from a supposed secret diary, during a 1947 flight over the North Pole, Byrd did not just cross a geographic point. He entered an aperture. His account describes being escorted by unknown aircraft into the Earth's interior, traveling 1,700 miles over a surreal landscape of mountains, rivers, and lush vegetation, lit by an inner sun. He was greeted, he claimed, by beings of an advanced civilization, Agartha, who expressed concern for the surface world's destructive path. They returned him to our world with a warning. Byrd's believers assert the poles are not solid, but convex entry points, and that his public reports were swiftly and ruthlessly suppressed. Articles in Flying Saucer magazine, and even National Geographic allegedly seized and destroyed by authorities. The haunting question lingers: why such effort to bury a fantasy? The second legend is darker, rooted in the ashes of World War II. Rumors persist that high-ranking Nazis, fleeing collapse, established a secret redoubt in Antarctica, *Neuschwabenland star. Here, in hidden underground bases, they purportedly continued advanced weapons research, possibly even involving recovered exotic technology. While mainstream history dismisses this, proponents point to unexplained post-war submarine activity, peculiar expeditions, and declassified documents hinting at intense Allied interest in the region. This narrative intertwines with a modern secret base theory that global powers, in violation of the Antarctic Treaty, maintain clandestine installations for research into recovered technologies hidden beneath the ice in plain sight. WikiLeaks releases have occasionally referenced a mysterious, top-secret Antarctic facility, adding a layer of contemporary intrigue to these age-old whispers. Both legends, the mystical and the militaristic, converge on the same point. Antarctica is not merely a continent. It is a vault, a screen onto which we project our deepest suspicions of what is hidden, who is hiding it, and what truths lie buried, waiting for the thaw.